Hi, and welcome to Creating Connections with Felicia Slattery. I am Felicia Slattery, and I am here with my fabulous guest, Diane Conklin. Hi, Diane.
Hey, everybody. How's Felicia? Good to see you.
You too. And today we are going to be talking about direct response marketing. Why using what's old school works. And I'm excited that Diane said yes to being here today because Diane is a genius when it comes to old school direct response kind of marketing techniques and helping people take action on those techniques. So we've known each other for a good number of years. We've shared the stage, as they say. We've spoken at similar events and that kind of thing. And one of the things that's really impressive about Diane is she won Marketer of the Year for GKIC when that organization was a major player in the marketing world. Now one of the guys retired and things got sold and yada yada. Things have changed, but when in its heyday, Diane won Marketer of the Year. This is a lady who knows some cool stuff. So I could go on and on about her, but Diane, why don't you tell people a little bit about you, your business, what you do, who you do it for?
Well, I know one thing. If you call me old one more time, you're going to be in really serious trouble.
I said old, girlfriend.
Just kidding. So my business is Complete Marketing Systems, and that really is what we do. We're a company that does business building, strategy, marketing, both done for you, as well as we have home study systems, if you will, for people who are looking to grow their businesses, whether you're an online business, whether you're an offline business, whether you have a brick and mortar, whether you're virtual, whether you have an info business. We really deal with all of that. But my real big thing, and the thing that you really said in a different way than I'll say it, is everything that we do is measurable. And that's what I'm jumping ahead here, but that's part of what makes us direct response. So instead of people just, investing, because it's never expenditure, investing money in marketing and then going, oh, well, I don't know what happened. When we invest dollars with a client, and that's the way I look at it, is it's always with a client. We can say your return on investment from your Facebook ad was this. The return on investment from direct mail was this. The return, so we know exactly. So we can look at that then and say, okay, we should be doing more of this. We should do a little less of this. Maybe we should add to this, those kinds of things. So in a nutshell, we do a lot, but that's kind of how we do everything that we do.
Cool. So I'm going to digress for a second. I hear a lot of times people say when they talk about their company, we do this and we do that. In your case, is it really a we or is it a you and your customer together as a we? Do you have like a team or staff or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I have a team. They're right now they're all virtual. I've tried both. Okay. I actually do have some folks that come part-time here to work with me, but no, it's a we. And when I say we, I also mean me and the client. And the team and the client. So it's look, I'm the person who talks about, if you're a solopreneur, you own a job and not a business, and I'm all about how do we own businesses. So it's we, not just me and the dog, not just me and the lint in my pocket, but it truly is we.
Okay, so you just actually raised a point that I want to ask about. You said, so if you're a solopreneur, you have a job, and you're all about helping people build that into a business. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you're a solopreneur, that means you're doing everything in your business. That means everything about your business and in your business is dependent upon you, which means you can't really take a vacation. You can't really take time off. You can't, for any extended period of time. What are you going to do? Close your business down? Then what happens, right? There's no money coming in. So as a solopreneur, you're the Dunkin' Donuts guy, right? You're getting up at 4 a.m. I'm aging myself here. They're used to, for those
I remember that. I fact, all the time I say, time to make the donuts.
Right, time to make the donuts, right? That's you. You're making the donuts. You're mixing the batter. You're pouring it in the little thing. You're putting them in the oven. You're taking them out. You're putting them in the trays. You're now opening the doors, and you're taking the money, giving the donuts to the customer, and after a long, exhausting day, you're now locking the doors to go home to do it again the next day. That's a solopreneur. You're doing everything in your business. as opposed to if I truly own my business, then I'm what I call the BBV or the BEV, the big business visionary, or you have the big entrepreneurial vision, one of the other, which means, as Richard Branson says, who owns, by the way, over 300 companies, that you truly should be the person with the clean desk, because that's what it takes for you to be the visionary, to be the leader and the person who is even above the level of a CEO, right? You're the one who's saying, this is the direction that we're headed. This is the vision that I have for us a year from now, 5 years from now. And then the key as now the business owner is to actually get people to buy into your vision on your team and build it from there.
Okay, we're going to talk more about this because this is interesting. So tell me then, if they want to build a business, if they should be the big business visionary, the BBV in their business, and they should have the clean desk. My desk is never clean, but anyway, and I have lots of vision and lots of people who do stuff for me.
Right.
We'll just leave that to the side. But if that's what somebody should be looking to attain, for people who are newer or people who are maybe just maybe they've got a full-time thing and they're trying to get started with, their big vision, whatever it is. I work with a lot of people who they're working full-time, but they want to speak. They feel like they've got a message inside them and they want to share it with folks. Or they've got a really great idea, but they can't give up their full-time thing. So for those kind of people, what do you say to them about being the big business visionary while still also getting stuff done?
Yeah, so for the record, the clean desk thing is as much about the physical desk as it is the mental desk, right? Because when your brain is clogged up with all the things you have to do and each individual piece is part of the component, it's really hard for you to think in the visionary way, right? So what I would say to the person who maybe still has a full-time job and is doing this on the side or part-time or on the weekends or nights or whatever is, first of all, congratulations. I think a lot of us, probably most of us who are over the age of 25 probably started there, right? And what I would also say is this, so treat your business as if it were a big business from the beginning. And if you will do that and think about it from the perspective of it's not just you, then it'll grow faster and it will be a big business much quicker. What I mean by that is, first of all, the other piece of this I would say to you is get help quickly, right? Because the fact that you are doing other things and you are working a full-time job just brings it even more to the point that you have to have somebody help you or you're totally going to be overwhelmed by all of the other things in your life plus this. So, and I'm not talking about bringing on a 40-hour a week person, but maybe you have somebody a couple hours a week that helps you do things, right? There are plenty of those kind of people out there who can help. But here, I love this quote by Joe Polish. Joe Polish says, stop trying to strengthen your weaknesses, strengthen your strengths and hire your weaknesses, right? And that goes against what almost everyone else will teach or tell you. But here's the thing. If you will start out that way and concentrate on the things you are uniquely qualified to do, and there are probably 4 to, I'm going to say 6, maybe 8 if you're really good of those things in your business, and let everybody else handle the other stuff, the stuff you hate, the stuff you're not good at. For me, it's technology. Don't even say the word HTML to me. It makes my eyes roll back in my head, right? So I want nothing to do with that. And I'm really clear about that. So I have people who are good at that, people who understand that, and that's what they do. While I get to go focus on the marketing and the sequences and the speaking and the 4 or 5 things that I'm really good at.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, that's a great answer. Obviously, I knew that it would be. That's why I asked. But, I think that that's how I started my business, really out of necessity, because I mean, I didn't even know what HTML was when I started my business. Like, not even say it to me, and my eyes roll in the back of my head. Like, I didn't even know what that was about. So when I started, I was teaching college full time, and I was, mommy with 2 master's degrees, wanted to stay home and take care of my babies. That's what I wanted to do. And I knew, I knew how to send an email. That was pretty much it. And I had no idea that, I didn't even know what blogging was. This was 2006. Blogging was still newish. And so I knew really quickly that if I wanted to get ideas and words that I wanted to share with people onto the internet, I was either going to have to learn how to do it myself, or I was going to have to hire somebody. God forbid I wasn't going to learn how to do it myself, because I was just crazy.
Right. And you started when blogging just started. I started like before the internet was real. Like, we still had to lick stamps to put them on. That's how old I am.
All right. So let's talk about that. Actually, that's a perfect segue. You told me not to call you old anymore, but I'm just saying, you just called yourself old. So, all right. So let's talk about old school and direct marketing, because that is where you had to lick the stamp and stick it on the envelope, right? But when some people think of direct marketing, that's what they think of, is like snail mail marketing. But what actually is direct marketing?
I would really say that's direct mail. So that's a little different. So direct response marketing, there's 2 things that make direct response. The first one is that it's actionable, right? So you're asking somebody to take an action with you, right? So if you send somebody to your website and there's a request there for them to get a free CD, for example, the fact that you've asked them to go to your website is an action. We can measure that. So if you go there and you opt in to the website, we can measure that. We know exactly where you came from, right? Felicia's Blab, people went, we did this, right? So it's actionable and it's measurable, which is very different from what I call Me Too advertising or image advertising, which is what you see a lot of the big companies do. Coca-Cola, HP, American Express. It's much more, now they mail, they have a really good, some of their mailers are really great and you can learn a lot from them, but they're really more of an image. Uh-oh, Felicia, did you leave me?
No, I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh,
I'm here.
No, I can't see you. I can only see
you hear me
now. I can hear you.
You can. Okay, well, that's weird.
Apparently
I'm having a hiccup.
Okay, so, that's the 2 things that make direct response. Image advertising, the advantage of that are companies who, like Coca-Cola, for example, right? Coca-Cola has millions of dollars to spend. They'll spend $3 million for a 30-second ad spot, right? Coca-Cola might not, because it's sponsored by Pepsi. I don't know. But Budweiser or whatever, name a big company like that, because they have millions to spend. You and I, as small business owners, don't have that advantage. So we have to use techniques like direct response in order to be able to compete and beat, in many times, our competition. There you are. You're coming back on now.
Sorry.
I felt so low.
The internet kicked me off.
So that's what direct response means.
Okay. So it's the 2. It's got, just to recap for my own self. So it's actionable and measurable. You got it. And that's what makes direct response. Got it. Okay. So yes.
Interestingly, you can take that. You can use it online. You can use it offline. You can use it, you name a media, TV, radio, newspaper. Again, I know this is old school, right? But internet, Facebook, LinkedIn, social media, banner ads, anything that you do online, you can use this as well.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So actually, I've got a bunch of things to talk about, but related to that, are people still using offline marketing techniques, and are they still working? You mentioned newspaper and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, they are. And very interestingly, they're the things that so many times go unnoticed, for one. And for 2, part of the reason they go unnoticed is because they cost money. Right? And everybody thinks I can send an email for free. I can put a post up on social media for free. First of all, it's not free. Right? And we can have that argument if you want. but it's not free because your time is worth something. And when you send an email, if you're using MailChimp, if you're using Infusionsoft, if you're using Constant Contact or Aweber or one of the other millions of things that are out there now, it's not free. You're paying for that every month. So while we think of it as less expensive and all of that, many times we're afraid to make an investment in marketing. Here's the problem with that. I would much rather make an investment in marketing to my specific target market, where I know that I'm talking to the right person. And that's what direct response is all about. Even direct mail. When I say direct mail, I'm not talking about like 10,000 pieces, right? I'm talking about testing with 100 or 500. I have somebody right now, we're testing a video card with 50 mail pieces, right? So, but specifically those things, and people are afraid to invest. But if you invest and you go where you know your people are, you significantly increase the chances of getting to them, as opposed to some, ad that you throw up on the internet that is just out there. And yeah, you might be getting millions of impressions, but how many of them are qualified impressions who are interested in what you have to offer and what you're saying?
So where are you finding those qualified folks?
Well, when you know who they are, right? So we can go through a whole list of target market things, demographics, psychographics, and all of that. Then we can go out in a few ways, right? So one, the great thing about Google AdWords is that when people go to Google, they're searching for a specific thing. If you come up in AdWords, guess what? They were looking for that, right? So yesterday, I'll give you a quick example. I went to Google and typed in Garmin Nuvi 50 LM. My GPS got stolen out of my truck while I was having some work done on it. I want a new one, right? So I went to Google and so guess what I did yesterday? I bought a new Garmin. Well, if I had just been on the internet looking around and that popped up 3 days ago, I'd have been like, I already have one. Why is that not interested, right? But I went to Google, and somebody who paid for Google space got me to buy something from them because they were there and I was looking for them. It was immediate, right? You can also find the same thing on Facebook. When you place Facebook ads, they have a really, really amazing ways now inside of their systems that you can very specifically target who you want. I could, if I had a program that I wanted for people who were traveling, I can get so specific in Facebook now when I place an ad that they will tell me these people are traveling. And it's based on the posts that you put up and the follow things that they have. So there are a lot of ways to get those really specific things like that. But my point in telling you that is sometimes paying for traffic is the least expensive way that you can market, as opposed to what most people think is that it's the most expensive way, because it's more targeted, it's more specific. People are looking for you instead of the other way around.
Yeah, I always think it just makes more sense to be in front of the people who are looking specifically for you, like your story with Armin. Like, if you're looking for that particular item, then why would somebody who sells that product not want to show up in front of you? Of course they want to show up in front of you. It just makes more sense. Instead of like, hey, have you thought about changing your GPS system? Well, no, because I use my phone.
Right, exactly. Loved my Garmin.
So I would not be a good prospect, for that person. But when somebody's typing it in, then obviously, yes, it makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So one of the things that I know that you do, because you did it with me, is you reach out directly with people that you want to work with.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. And so talk a little bit more about that specifically.
Well, here's the thing. There are all these new terms and newfangled things that we talk about in marketing. there really aren't any new terms. It's all the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Content marketing, relationship marketing, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing that, the more we forge ahead, the more we go back and pull the things from the fat past and just bring them with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the most important thing?
Did you say fat past?
Pass and pull them? I don't think so. From the past.
Okay, go ahead. It's like, wait, I never heard that. What?
We have to record and see if I did say that.
Okay.
But so what happens now is, what's the most important reason that people do business with you, right? We talk about it all the time. Everybody on this blab knows what they are. Know, like, and trust, in that order.
Sure.
Okay. Well, how do people get to know you? How do people get to like you? And then how do people get to trust you? Well, partially it's because they get to know you when you share things with them. They feel like they know you the more personal you are, right? So the story I told about, the Garmin yesterday, my truck getting broken into while I was having work done, a little personal along with the educational stuff. Not anything, intensely personal, but, a little story, right? So the more personal we are with people, especially in today's world, because everybody thinks what? Oh, we'll go online and send a message. Well, we'll send an email. We'll do whatever. Great. But here's the thing. How personal is it? How in touch do people feel with you? The most important part of filling events, of selling courses, of having people come into your store if you have a brick and mortar, is that they feel a connection to you, right? And that's true at any aspect of your life. Pick any relationship. The people that you lean on, the people that you care about the most, there I use the word love, right? Are the people you have that connection with. So when I pick up the phone, yes, look, mine has a cord on it, right?
Wow, that's seriously old school.
It's amazing, right? I have one of these. It's one of these too, just like you showed a minute ago. Where is it? There we go.
There
right?
it is.
But mine's off during the day because that's how people communicate with me. But when I show up in your inbox and it's me, right, with my smiling face, with my, pale white skin and no makeup on, because that's how I normally am, right? And I just,
you got dressed up today.
I did, right? I sent in a 3-week time period, I sent 140 personal videos.
Wow.
Between December 20th and I don't know, the first of the year, somewhere in there.
Okay.
So, you got me. You got me the way I work every day, right? But what happened was, it's a connection thing. And so when I'm able to send you a video and show up in your inbox and say, hey, Felicia, it's Diane. And then I laugh because obviously it's a video and you can see that it's Diane, but that's right. And so I have that like just silly thing, right? So I'm just me. So, I just, hey, how you doing? Hope you had a great holiday season. Hope you and Brett, right? So I mentioned your husband and the kids, right? Had a great time there in Knoxville. I know where you live, right? All of those things now strengthen the connection.
Right.
Right. And so how else do you get that kind of connection with people? You don't get it sending an email. You don't really get it in the mail unless you're sending a video card like I'm sending now. And so, that connection piece, when people get a video from you, when people get a phone call from you, in today's world, it's like, wow, you took the time to do that for me. Yeah, I did. I have a special, and I said, look, I did the personal thing. And then I said, look, part of this is selfish. I'm sending you this message because I have a special invitation. In your case, I, invited you to my upcoming event. And people are, if it did nothing else, it worked, first of all. But if it did nothing else, it reconnected me to people who I hadn't talked to and seen in a while. I actually had people who shot me videos back, which was really fun and cool.
Good.
And who started a whole conversation with me in that way. Now I'll give you a really cool tip here for just a second. When I sent those videos that I sent that you got, I sent them through YouTube. I didn't send them with a link from me. It came from YouTube. And the reason I did that is because, first of all, how many times do you get a video from YouTube, an email from YouTube? Almost never.
Very rare.
Right. How many times do you get an email from Diane? It's less rare, right? And so,
right, yeah. Especially if I'm on your list, I'm hearing from you however often you're mailing me. Yeah.
Right. So when that YouTube video comes, it's like, whoa, what's that? Mm-hmm. So you get that.
I did notice you mailed out of YouTube. I was like, oh, that's cool. All right.
And I did it on purpose.
Right, of course.
Right. To get that reaction of, wow, what is this? Right. Because people stopped what they were doing to look at those. And I actually there were a few people who didn't open it, and I sent them messages on Facebook and said, hey, I sent you a YouTube video the other day. Did you get it? And if they'd said no, then I put it in a link on a personal message in Facebook. But it really is about that personal connection. And it was direct response because I can measure it. I know how many videos I shot. I know how many people said yes. And I know
so you could you see how many people opened up the video? You could see that?
Oh, yeah. I know how many views each of them had. Okay. I had people who went back and watched them 4 or 5 times.
That's cool. So, okay, so you could do that. Now, you said you sent 140 of those. You don't have to say, dollar amount or anything like that, but like what percentage of did you feel like it was worth your time based on the ROI that you got?
Yeah, I got an almost 20% response rate.
Nice. That's fantastic. Like positive response rate in terms of people signing up for whatever you asked them to sign up for.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think part of it was because it was the personal effect.
I think there's no question that it was.
Yeah.
Having been the recipient of one of them.
And I had people who said, I can't make it, but I'd love to promote for you. I had all kinds of really positive things happen. So
cool. And that's the thing really about direct response marketing done from a personal standpoint, I think, is that sometimes what you're looking to measure doesn't happen, but other good stuff comes out of it.
Yeah.
And you just never really do know exactly what's going to come out of it. You'll get some kind of ROI. You just don't know what it's going to be. I talk about that all the time when we talk about video.
Can I answer Steve's question?
Yeah, go ahead. So Steve asked, how much effort did you put into pre-qualifying those prospects, the 20% response rate?
Yeah, so it's a great question, Steve. And I will tell you, they were all people who I at least had a personal email on. So they are people who were in my, I would say in my inner sphere, but not all of them. Some of them were people who, for example, had gotten attendance into the event as a bonus who hadn't taken advantage of it. Some of them were very much in my inner circle. Some of them were people who had said they had an interest in the past that had never pulled the trigger. But they were all people who, at the very least, I had their email from. So in that respect, they were very much pre-qualified. I think it would be tough to do that same thing with a non-qualified or a cold list because you don't have their contact information. You don't know anything about them. And I think, again, part of what made this such a great thing was it was me saying, hey, Felicia, I hope you and hubby, I hope you and the girls, I hope, Knoxville's great. Hey, have you checked this place out in Knoxville? We used to love it when I was there in grad school, right? So it was continually making the connection about the things I knew about people.
Awesome. Good question too.
It's a great question.
Okay. So, I got a bunch of questions here and I'm trying to decide which one I want to ask next. So, I just looked at the time. All right, let me say this. So, hi everybody who's joined us since we've started. We are right at the bottom of the hour. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to unlock the seats. So if you have another question that you'd like to ask and you'd like to get on camera, that would be great. We'd love to have you. I do have some rules. You've got to stay on topic. You can ask a question or you can offer a suggestion or an idea, or you've tried something with direct response marketing that you'd love to share about, whatever. Feel free to join in, and I'm real quick with the delete and kick people off button. We had a problem. First time I had a problem was like last week, and I was like, okay, we had to kick that person off. But for the most part, everybody's been really good since I've had my show. So anyway, in the meantime, Diane and I are still going to keep talking. So how much? So you did that video campaign, and that was obviously personal. How much other video do you use? And that's part A. And then part B is, would you consider that
As long as it's measurable
direct
and
response?
requires an action.
Either way, you can answer one side or the other first.
Then it's direct response, right? So for me, it was because I said, here's a special code for you, and it's only good until this amount of time. So I made it direct response. And I try to make everything I do like that. So I use a lot of video. I've gone away from what I would call the sort of the traditional e-zine that goes out every week with the read it, go through, where are they, here's the promo, here's a testimonial. Nothing wrong with that. I've moved away from it, and I do a video. When I send mine every week, every other week now, I'm a little less consistent than I used to be. It's video. I'm shooting videos inside of groups now that I run on Facebook. I'm doing videos for all kinds of things because it's not my preference. This is the point I want to get across. It is not my preference. I'm happy not to have I know it doesn't look like I did much, but I actually blow dried my hair, right? I put the hairspray on. I have makeup on. I don't do that on a normal day. I get out of the shower, I comb it back, it dries how it dries. I come down here and I work, right? So, and sometimes I shoot videos like that, much to certain people who love me's dismay. But it's me, right? It's real. It's me, and it's whatever. So and I will tell you, I'm not the person who likes to watch a lot of video. I'm much more an audio person, but it's what my clients and my prospects want. And so I do what gets me results. I do this, and I love it. What I don't love about it is that, unlike this, where there's some interaction, the video, there's no interaction. And that's what I love about speaking on stage so much, is the interactive piece. But I do it because that's what people want, and that's what people are doing now, and that it gets the best results. So that's what I do.
Cool. All right. So Georgia Lee London is here. Hey, Georgia, how are you today?
Good.
So awesome.
Good. So what do you got on your mind today?
Stuff in there. I especially like the emails, the video emails, and I'm big on video also. I think that is definitely a direct response, right, with people. And so I love all the hints that you've given us and tips that you've given us today. And you had asked the question about, what are we doing with direct response marketing and what's succeeding. And one of the things I did was, over the holidays, I sent a personal video message, like a holiday card, and it got a huge response. And I'm doing it again at Valentine's, and showing love for my clients. And I was really surprised. It was the first time I did it at the holidays, a personal video email. And, the return on investment was great. I actually got a high-end client. I got 3 people to join a group. So what you're saying, Diane and Felicia, really works. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. So good stuff today.
That's fantastic. So when you did it, did you have were you asking for people to do something actionable, or were you just touching base, hey, happy holidays, wanted to say hi, and then people on their own came back to you, or did you give them a specific action you wanted them to take?
Message. That what I did was just something very simple and easy, to join a Facebook group. So I have a Facebook group, and that's my community, and that's where all my information goes to first. And even if they're not on my list, right, if they're in my Facebook group, they're going to get the same information that they get on my list. They get my blog, they get everything, my blabs, everything that I do goes into my Facebook group. So for me, getting them in the Facebook group is actually easier than getting them to opt in at the website. And I did some Facebook ads, and I actually was, surprised at some of the results at my latest launch, that like 221 people went to the website, but only 17 opted in for the free thing. Right. Now that could be
for the free thing
on my opt-in.
Oh, wow.
And it could also be a reflection of what people are saying, is people are less willing to give up their email, and that Facebook is taking over. People get a platform, they want to stay on that platform, right? They don't want to leave the platform. So if they get my Facebook ad,
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for me to get them to join my Facebook group than it is to get them to go to my website. So I don't care how I capture the lead, whether it's Facebook or the opt-in. So I've actually had more success that way.
Okay, can I give you a small caution?
Sure.
Cool.
So here's what scares me about what you just said. First of all, you're right to some degree. It's easier for people to stay on the platform. However, it should scare you. And here's why. None of us think Facebook is going away. But none of us thought telemarketing, none of us thought faxing, none of us thought, any of those things were going to go away either, right? And businesses went OOB overnight, right? Out
Remember MySpace?
Of business. That's my acronym. Right?
MySpace was a big deal.
So what I would say to you is I never, ever, 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 to get that, want my clients to be dependent on a source that they don't control. Facebook is a source you, Georgia, don't control. So here's what I would suggest is to try to move more people onto your list. Do it in a variety of ways. Maybe the free thing that you've offered right now isn't appealing enough. It's not what they want. Ask them to, participate in a survey. And in order to get the results, you're going to do something maybe in the mail. Offer them some different kinds of offerings, audio, videos, series, one-times, checklists, templates, anything that they want. And I would ask them what they want, right? And then give it to them. To get them to leave you that email address so that you can control that media. That's the key. So that's just one of my biases. And I think what you're doing, it sounds like you're having great success. Please don't, I'm not poo-pooing that. I'm not trying to take away from that. But I always caution people when you have somebody else who owns the media, that you want as much of that as you can get.
Oh, absolutely. You're raising a very good point. We don't own the real estate there on Facebook.
Exactly.
And, you're absolutely right about that. And I guess for me, it's just, I'm new, right? I'm new at online business. And I've had brick and mortar businesses and been quite successful at those. And this is my first kind of foray into the online stuff. So, I'm sort of dabbling and playing a little bit here and there with everything. So, so lots of great suggestions. If someone else wants to get on, I'll just hop off. It looks like Steve wanted to get on and ask a question. I have to say that.
Yeah, well, Steve, if you want to come on, you can. Otherwise, I'll ask. And Georgia, you can stay on camera or you can get off. That's fine either way. Thanks for being here.
My little son actually told me about his YouTube channel.
Oh, very cool.
Oh,
and
cool.
Georgia, before you leave, just let me say this.
Thank you for that.
All right,
cool.
Don't poo-poo those lessons you've learned in your offline business and your brick and mortar. Take them with you. They will serve you well online.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay, so Steve, if you want to jump on our camera, you can, because now we know you have a YouTube channel.
On,
there you go.
England or somewhere. Hey there.
Yes, I'm calling in from the UK.
See, I knew that. Dinner.
Yeah, dinner looms, and I'm hungry.
Hello.
So, the question I've got for you is something I'm struggling with myself. Is how do you start that conversation with somebody that you haven't met before on social media? Have you got tips for that?
Go ahead, Felicia. Go ahead.
I do. Do you? Because I'm, the show is creating connections. So I'm all about let's create connections with people, whether we know them or we don't. Right. And, I remember Twitter back when Twitter was brand new, and it's different now than it used to be. I'll tell you that. I'm old too. Yes. Thank you, Diane, for that. But so, and I left Twitter for a long time because after the initial year or two of it being really, really fun and people commenting back no matter what or when or what it was about, it kind of stopped and it became very broadcasty. And it was like, that just was so distasteful to me. So I ended up spending a lot of time on Facebook. I still do spend more of my social time on Facebook than I do on Twitter. However, I've started to be more active on Twitter again because I found out the answer to this question. So a few different things. Number one is you want to hashtag as many things as possible, because if you're if you see right now in the title of this, I titled it with a hashtag on marketing. Because if somebody is interested in marketing, I'm interested in marketing, they're interested in marketing, now we've got at least a common area of interest to have a conversation about. And if there are multiple hashtags, I can go and see, I can search the hashtag and see like, what are these people talking about? In fact, one of the best ways to start a conversation is to join in like a Twitter chat and find one that's happening in whatever subject area that interests you, and jump into that. And those Twitter chats are super easy and super fun to join in, and just start tweeting. You can go to tweetchat.com and the hashtag will automatically be added. I think Twitter now automatically adds the hashtag if you're in the thing. It's been a few years since I've done it that way. I just go over to tweetchat.com and do it that way. But it's real easy to jump in those conversations, and then all of a sudden people start talking to you who you've never met before, and you follow those people. Many of them will follow you back if you're interested in the same topic and you're tweeting about the same topic. So on Twitter, that's a fantastic way. On Facebook, it's a little bit more challenging because you need to either be friends with that person or be friends with someone who is friends with that person, like kind of get the introduction to really have a conversation going. Or if that person is like a public figure and they have lots and lots of thousands of friends, like I'm at the 5,000 friend limit on my personal profile, and almost every Facebook post that I make public, because I want to interact with people. I'm on social media to be social for my business. So I'm happy when people comment, and I will try to comment back. And so anytime someone comments directly to me, like sometimes I'll ask a question and I'll literally get 200 answers in an hour or two. I can't respond to all 200 of those. But if somebody is asking somebody on social media and Facebook in one of those 200 person replies, and they post something, I'm reading through those. I'll respond directly if they've asked, a question that's a question that I can respond to. Sometimes you get weird people and I end up having to block those, but for the most part, that's kind of how I respond.
Little bit of
Diane,
a
what are your
caveat on the
thoughts?
hashtag thing, because I've read lately that like on Twitter, it's better if with no more than 2 hashtags. I've read that on Facebook. Right.
Yeah, you don't want to pack it full of, you don't want every tweet
hashtags
full,
the better. More than 5 is the one that gets the most response there. So I would just tell you, kind of do your research there. I think the answer really, Steve, is the same. It's about starting the engagement however you're comfortable starting it. It's about asking questions. And to me, we've gotten away from, on social media, what I call the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule, right? Everybody wants to make it all about business now. It's always about business. It's business, business, business. People aren't on there for that. And when you're constantly talking about it, watch what happens on your page, on somebody else's page. When you're making posts about business, nobody's commenting. There's no interaction. When you make posts about personal things, I had a 3-year anniversary the other day. I got 251 likes and 200 comments on a post. Wow. Nobody ever does that when I talk about anything else, right? Except the dogs, right? So it's 90% social, 10% business. And even when I put posts up that are business related, I try to do what I call a mixed message post. So I might say something like, I'm headed to the Atlanta airport to go speak in Nashville for such and such and such, and the craziest thing happened while I was there, right? So I'm telling you I'm doing something business related, and then I'm telling you this wild and crazy story that just happened at the airport. So that would be my real key. The engagement happens when, sorry, I don't know why I got this frog in my throat. When you let people into your life and do the personal piece. That's where the engagement is. And I'll tell you somebody, not that I should be promoting someone else on our call, but Nancy Marmolejo is amazing at this. If you follow her on Facebook and watch her, she's phenomenal at it. But that's the thing I would tell you is converse and connect with them in a way that is about them and relates to them and isn't always about the business. Share stuff that's personal, but not private.
That's excellent. I'm so sorry. I've had the call. The dinner call has been made.
What are we having?
It's
that's exciting
tonight.
What's for dinner?
I'll be right there in about a 6-hour flight.
Lovely.
Can I just share one thing that, of all the great things you said, I like to summarize. There's one little thing there that stood out to me. Both of what you said was excellent, but something Felicity said was, when you're asking questions, it struck me that your meeting point is the common interest. And that's where I'm going to take it.
Good.
Yeah, I'm going to experiment with that, and I'll come back to you in the future. All right? Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, fantastic. Nice to meet you too. I can't wait to look up your YouTube channel. All right, fantastic. So, great conversations today. I love being able to talk about all these different things because I think if you look at social media as a form of direct response marketing, keeping in mind that 90-10, that's the biggest problem is the 90-10 thing. People who are direct response marketers get that all discombobulated. They do 90% pushing their business and 10% every once in a while they talk about it.
Here's the piece that social media has been to me all since it started. Everybody all of a sudden came out of the woodwork. Let me teach you how to do social media. What nobody was teaching you was how to make money with social media. And even today, which is why I came up with a course, how to make, I don't remember what it was, how to make money on social media in 27 minutes or less a day, right? I don't do it anymore. And I'll tell you why I don't do it in just a second. But nobody was talking about how to make money. You can play all day on social media. The question is, are you being productive? And productive means that there's a positive business outcome on the end somewhere, which to me means eventually there's money. There's a speaking engagement booked. There's a new client. There's a product sold. There's a something. There's an affiliate commission, right? There's something. So it's easy to say, well, I spent 3 hours on Facebook today. Well, what was the result of that? That's when it becomes direct response, right? So here's the other thing to remember. Social media is just that. It's media. It's not a business. It's media. And so if you treat social media like you treat the other parts of your business and you measure how much time did I spend this week and what was my return on investment? I know this is very left brain. But this is the stuff that this is my thing, right? So if you measure it, what was your return on investment? If the return on investment wasn't at least a positive one, then what I would say to you, if part of the reason that you're on social media is to make money, I know it's not a politically correct discussion, then you need to look at what could I have spent. Maybe I spend an hour and take those other 2 hours and go do something different. Maybe it's email marketing, maybe it's ads, maybe it's joint ventures, affiliates, whatever it is. But you've got to begin to look at that. And when you do that, that's when your entire business really becomes a direct response business, even if you're not a marketer by trade.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And, and again, to review, because we've had a few people jump on, when Diane is talking about direct response, two things. It's got to be actionable, what you're telling people to do or asking people to do, and it's got to be measurable. So you're asking people to take action, and then you're looking to measure. And so it looks like we're going to be booting somebody pretty quickly. All right, so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about direct response. Some people say, this person was trying to talk about their MLM.
Absolutely.
Even MLM needs marketing. If they didn't need marketing, they wouldn't need to pay out as much as they pay out in commissions to their people. They wouldn't need to keep trying to get more
whatever
folks.
You want to call it, that I help with their marketing. Several of them.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, my Kill the Elevator speech book, a lot of, I've been featured in multiple direct marketing companies' libraries, like book of the month. You got to read this book. Why? Because you got to meet people. I mean, that's what marketing is meeting people where they are, what they need to do, how you take people from knowing who you are to buying your product or service.
You recommend 90/10. No, that's social media. When you're doing marketing on your own, direct response marketing through email or direct mail or however, that's all about you marketing and selling. Oh, did I say that word? Marketing there. What I was talking about was the social media part of it. 90% social, 10% business.
Yep, there we go. Perfect. So we had another question. Chuck said a client set up a Facebook page yesterday, 3 p.m., had 2 private messages requesting information within 45 minutes and wanted to purchase. Good ROI. Yeah. So I have a cough too today. But yeah, right over the camera. Be careful. Scrub that down with some Lysol or something. I don't know what. But yeah, I mean, that's it. When you're thinking about using social media as a marketing tool, there are multiple ways to look at social media too. Some people don't.
Yep.
Some people aren't looking at social media as a direct response tool. I look at social media primarily as a connection tool and secondarily as a marketing tool, because I market through my connections, whether that's connecting with people who have lists, communities of subscribers that are similar to mine or similar to the people that I want to be in front of, whether that's joint venturing with somebody, whether that's, an influential person of some shape or form meeting me and maybe putting me in front of their people or in front of their audience or whatever the case may be, right? So there are a lot of different things and ways to think about social media. Don't think about being on social media like, well, if I'm not directly asking people to do something, I'm not measuring it, I'm not using it right. That's not you. People can use social media how you want to use social media. But you need to think about, what is your strategy going to be? Is it going to be a direct response type of strategy that you'd like to use? Well, then that's one set of strategies, rules, and techniques. Are you looking at it as a relationship builder? That's another set of strategies, rules, and techniques. There's overlap, but they're slightly different, and your goals are slightly different in how you use that. So, and some people like to use social media as a relaxation tool, and they just want to, kind of get away from everything. Those are the people that I worry about the most, because they don't consider that, well, I'm just here for, hanging out with my family or friends. Well, if you have a business, you can be on social media for that, but don't forget that stuff is all searchable. Even the stuff that you think is private can somehow, some way end up being shared. So don't put anything on the socials, on the webs, in the interwebs of the world. Yep. If you don't want the whole world to see it, just throwing that out there. Yep. All right. So let's see, what else do we have going on here? Somebody else had a good point. Jen said, consider that your social media network audience is on rented land. The rules can change overnight. Yeah, Jen, we were talking about that earlier when Georgia was on. Diane mentioned that, and it's like, you know what, if we don't own that real estate, that better not be our primary source of anything. You want to be getting people from social and bringing them into your own house, whatever your own house happens to look like. Yep. All right. So Shelly's on her way to a tweet chat. We were talking about that earlier. Fantastic. All right. So Diane, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're working on, what you got going on right now, because we're getting close to the end of getting back to the top of the hour.
Things.
What do you got going on? How can people find out more about you?
So my main website is CompleteMarketingSystems.com, and there's a free CD there. If you'd like to pick it up, that's great. It's in 9 keys for starting, building, and growing your business. And by the way, yes, I did say CD because I mail a CD. And we could get into the reasons why I do that if you want. You also get it as a download, but I do put it in the mail as well. Yes, I am old school. I also have an event coming up actually the very last implementation event I'm going to be doing February. I don't know why I can't remember this. 11th and 12th here in Atlanta. If you're interested in that, it's at theimplementationevent.com. And you know what, Felicia? Do you want me to do this? So you want me to offer a little special? So it's $597.
Sure,
investment. If anybody on Felicia's Blab or hearing this in a recording wants to come, you can come for $297. All you have to do is when you get to the order page, put in the code 297, and that'll get you in for a $297 investment because you know and love Felicia. So working on that and partnering with a guy doing websites and SEO.
That's so awesome.
Got a few little things. Got a couple folks I'm thinking about collaborating with this year. So, time doesn't stand still, and neither do I, because that just makes you old and puts mold on your butt. So.
Don't make me laugh. I got the cough. That's so funny. Come on here. Oh, I made you snort. Yeah, my work here is done. That's one of my favorite things as somebody who appreciates humor. If there's ever a snort, I know I've done some good stuff. All right. So does anybody else have any comments, questions, ideas, anything you'd like to hop on camera? If you don't, then I will turn off the cameras and we will do the after show for a couple of minutes. So the seat is open. It is, because I'm still on the air. All right. Well, nobody else wants to jump on live right now. So I'm going to stop the recording and say thank you so much for being here. Make sure you join me next week and every week on Tuesday at noon Eastern. And I know we've got people from all over the world because I got a map over here that's showing me people. That's super fun to see that. I love that. So noon Eastern, so whatever time it is right now on your clock, subtract almost an hour and be here next Tuesday at that time, because we talk about how you can create connections and build awesome relationships through marketing and effective communication. Thanks so much for being here. Diane, thank you for your wisdom. You are fantastic. So glad you could make it. You're welcome.